Welcome back to the morning show here on Arise News. The two chambers of the National Assembly of Nigeria have in the past couple of days witnessed robust debates about the performance of Nigeria's service chiefs in the war against terrorism, which has wreaked havoc over large swaths of territory across the northern parts of the country. Senate Minority Leader Enyinaya Abaribe set the ball rolling by calling on President Muhammadu Buhari to resign for failing to keep the country safe. For a discussion around this subject and other national issues, we are now being joined by Ken Okolugbo, a former member of the PDP Presidential Campaign Council and a former commissioner in charge of the Delta State Oil Producing Areas Development Commission. And here with him also is a member of the House of Representatives, Honorable Solomon Bulus, representing Mangu Boko's federal constituency in Plateau State, an area that has for long been on the receiving end of terrorist attacks. Welcome to the program, gentlemen.
Thank you so much.
Good morning. Yes, Honorable Bulus, are you with us in Abuja? Good morning. Okay, well, we're still waiting for Honorable Bulus to settle down in the Abuja studio, but Ken Okolugbo, you are with us here in Lagos. Yes. What's your assessment of what happened in the National Assembly after their return from a 5-week recess? The first topic that they took up was security in Nigeria. And they more or less passed, to borrow Tundun's assessment, they passed a vote of no confidence in the Buhari administration, with the minority caucus led by Senator Enyinaya Abaribe in the Senate saying that, in fact, President Buhari should just resign because he has not been able to keep his promise to Nigerians.
Well, I actually think it's been long overdue. I did a statement before that he was sleeping on duty, and I remember after that program, a lot of people kept calling and...
Who was sleeping on duty?
Buhari was sleeping on duty. And a lot of people called me and said, oh, that was a very strong word for you to use for the nation's president. And I think I should have said I would have been the lone voice. If people have followed and those that track me up would have known that I have called over and over again for the sack of the service chiefs. There's this thing called law of diminishing returns, which everybody knows. The service chiefs have long outlived their usefulness. And if you look at what is happening to the security architecture of this country, we've never had a time where you've had service chiefs stay for more than 2 years or maximum 3 years. The service chiefs were appointed in 2015. And this is 2020. And we have been calling on them to be removed from office, not because of anything personal, but because of what we have seen of the security situation in the country. Every time there's a strike from Boko Haram, every time there's a strike from the Fulani headsmen, every time we have the issue of kidnapping, there's always this consolation of saying that, oh, we are in charge, we have defeated Boko Haram. Anytime they keep telling us to defeat Boko Haram, the next week we are hearing of another strike. Oh, they keep consoling us because there are no bombings in Abuja anymore. We should go home to go and sleep, that the country is secure. We hear of the CAN chairman, who was Lawan Andimi, who was president of Christian Association of Nigeria, Ichika local government. Yes. He was actually killed. Remember how calm the man was when he appeared on that video, actually asking and begging for his life, and nothing was done about it. Maybe because his case was not as popular as Lee Sharibu, or the way we have talked about the Bring Back Our Girls syndrome. The truth about it is that President Buhari is sleeping on duty in terms of security. And he came into office with 3 mantras: security, economy, and the fight against corruption. And one of the important things you must do in this country as a commander-in-chief is to secure. That's the first thing you must do. Secure our lives and our properties. And as long as you can't do that, I'm happy those 2 chambers are dominated by members of the APC, so that it will not look like because those of us we are in the opposition, we're only crying foul. So I think the National Assembly, they were too late in the day. They should have done this a long time ago. But it's never too late. And I think they should be able to answer in terms of the call that they have made.
So if I were to play devil's advocate here, some people will argue that it's not about removing the service chiefs, that the problem has become so seemingly intractable that even if the service chiefs were to be replaced, there are other factors, such as the financing of these insurgent organizations, rampant unemployment in Nigeria, 13.5 million children out of school, that the problems go a lot deeper than the service chiefs. How do you respond to that?
I agree with you that the economic situation, of course, has a direct relationship in terms of insecurity, because they say the idle man is the devil's workshop. But let's just first of all tackle headlock the initial headship of the security agencies. You look at the junior army officers, those who have risen to the ranks of major generals. You look at the Navy commanders who are looking at becoming rear admirals. None of them are having any hope of actually becoming a head of any of these agencies. Remember, 18 generals were actually retired to make Bamai the chief of army staff. And the truth about it is, when 350 souls were lost in Kaduna, Kaduna state government indicted the Nigerian army under his watch. And it actually took this case to even the International Criminal Court of Justice. Nothing has been done since then. What I'm saying is, you can look at the economic angle, but let us bring in a new breath of life into this architecture. Let us have a new chief of army staff. Let us have a new chief of naval staff. Let us have a new chief of air staff. And then you can understand that when they come, they can also see the pressure, those people you're bringing in. They have seen the pressure that's come on their bosses. And so it will behave on them to understand that, look, they need to rejig the security architecture. If you notice in the House of Representatives, it was Mungunu, interestingly, who actually moved that motion, who is actually related to the NSA, the National Security Advisor. This should tell you that it has come to a stage where they cannot play politics anymore with the issue of security. Yes, you look at the economy. Now, inflation is an all-time high at 11.98%. We're looking at even a situation whereby, for the first time, the MPR has increased. And we're looking at a time where the misery index is at its worst, because unemployment, once you have unemployment and inflation at a very high index, you already automatically know that the misery index has increased. And so the economic situation is one factor. But the important thing they must do at this point is, first of all, rejig the nation's security architecture. And I've noticed something about the president. Whenever you put pressure on him, he tries not to act because of the pressure. Because this is coming from two chambers, bicameral chambers, that are dominated by the APC. So if he cannot act at this time, when would he act? Well, this is not playing politics.
He called for a meeting, of course, as we know. But before we even get into that, I want to actually talk about that apparent security architecture that we say we have, but seemingly there's nothing in existence here. And a lot of governors and leaders across the country are taking security into their own hands and starting security outfits or networks, such as in the Southwest, where Operation Amotekun has been created. Now, we're hearing that the Southeast governors have come together and they are putting forward a similar operation that they want for the Southeast regional zone. So clearly we can see the ripple effect is starting, and we can see that the 6 geopolitical zones are probably going to actually end up taking matters into their own hands when it comes to that and setting up regional security networks. How do you support this, and how do you see this playing out with the federal government?
But we have always said that decentralization of the police was one thing that was long overdue. Yes, you said like the community policing is going to give the governors a whole lot of powers and they're going to abuse it. Just like what we have in terms of state electoral commissions, where in every state there's a party that is in charge, wins every election. We have those negative aspects. But what is community policing? Is people who know their terrain, people who can see strangers in their terrain, people who can tell, who can give information, so to say. Let's even break it down, police informants. Now, what is Amotekun? Amotekun is only bringing it down to that level, where you can go and say, look, I've just seen some strangers in the forest. I'm not happy with this, with the movements I've noticed. It is those around the community that can tell if things are going wrong. If you do not have information, if police do not have information, they cannot act. And we have seen that the police, first of all, is grossly underfunded, and they are grossly inadequate to reach every nook and cranny of Nigeria's population that has been said to be 200 billion. So it is not something we have to shy away from. I was shocked when the Attorney General came and was fighting Amotekun. You don't have a solution to a problem, and people are trying to bring solutions to that problem. No matter how imperfect that solution is, what you're supposed to do is come up and say, look for ways to make that solution, strengthen it, instead of coming to say it's going to be a no-no. And they start making mountains out of what should naturally have been a molehill. So I would say that community policing is the key. But then, how do you do community policing without the police rejigging the architecture of security? Because if you make those arrests, even if as a citizen you have the power to make arrests, you're going to take them to police station. You're not going to be the one to take them to court. So if you don't have the system right, community policing would also not work.
Well, let's go to our Abuja studio where Honorable Solomon will be joining the conversation. Honorable Solomon Bulus, good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome to the morning show.
Good morning, sir.
Yes, I don't know whether you've been able
to
listen to part of our conversation with Ken Okolugbo here with us in Lagos, but I know that your constituents have been most affected. Mangu Boko's federal constituency was under siege for about 2 days without any help whatsoever, and you have had cause to speak up in defense of your people. What exactly happened in that part of Plateau State? And what do you think that the federal government should have done that, the federal government failed to do? And what kind of suggestions do you have for government, considering the fact that you and your colleagues are protesting that the Buhari administration is not doing enough to protect lives and property?
Yeah. First, I want to say that what government has failed to do is that government has failed to make any form of arrest or even stop this criminality from taking place. And that for us, when people talk about community policing as what government should do in order to bring down some of these issues that are bedeviling us as a moment, as a nation, for some of us, what is this community policing all about? They are just informants of the police. Can they arrest? Can they prosecute? Do they have such powers? And at the end of the day, are we still having a one-man command police force that it is too large? I mean, he cannot be able to attend to all the issues that have been brought up from many of our areas, the nooks and crannies of this country? Or we're looking at a system where we decentralize the police, where you have smaller commands, where people can take decisions on what they need to do in order to bring down crime in any society. And so I think state policing, yes, is one of the steps forward. But the best thing to do is to have state police, where commands are decentralized. In fact, even if we can have local government police, where even the state do not have to take a decision on what happened in maintaining peace and security in the local government areas, rather than trying to say we are going to continue to only bring about informants who will bring information to government. What happened in Plateau State, sir? The attack took place around 8 p.m. and security did not arrive the place until almost 5 hours later. That is a state where you already have the military joint force that is working, they call the STF, in Jos. And if it will take them 5 hours to reach a place that is just by the roadside, the place where this crime took place is just about 10-15 minutes drive from the local government headquarters. And it's not on any much bad road that you will say it will take somebody on that road 30 minutes to get there. It's a place where police and security agencies can access within 10-15 minutes. But it took you more than 5 hours to arrive the scene. And what would a criminal be doing in a place after committing a crime for 5 hours? What will he be doing? And if you look at even what happened later, the following day, which was Monday morning, the rumors were that attacks were going to take place in adjoining communities of this same area. And the security were properly alerted on this matter. And to our dismay, this burning of houses, killings.
Well, we seem to have lost connection there, but we'll go back to Honorable Solomon Bulus, who is in our Abuja studio. But Ken, let's come back to you here. I mean, you are a member of the PDP. Are you critical of President Buhari because, he's from the All Progressives Congress? And what do you think of the reaction from Garuba Shehu, presidential spokesman, saying that Senator Abaribe should be the one to resign and others, and that in fact he should be in jail for standing as surety for a man who is a fugitive from the law. What's your reaction to that? Or don't you think the PDP is a bit too harsh with President Buhari?
I think Gabashew was only playing to the gallery and trying to keep his job. He should be ashamed of the statements he made, because first and foremost, Baribe was an elected senator, distinguished senator. Gabashew is an appointee of the president. When an appointee is asking an elected member to resign, what does that tell you? Well, Abaribe was only trying to tell the minds of Nigerians that Buhari should wake up. He might not have been as harsh as saying he should resign, which of course we know he would not hit to that request. But when you want to hit the nail on his head, he must bring, you know what you call a wake-up call? That is exactly what Abaribe did. And Gabashew should rather have seen the positives of the things that Abaribe said, rather than seeing only the negative aspect of the resignation he said. He wants to play to the gallery. He wants to please President Muhammadu Buhari. He wants him to be happy with him as his spokesman. And so these are the problems we have had. When you have been there. When you have those who are around the president not telling him the truth, rather telling him what he wants to hear. It is why we are having the problem in this country, when you have sycophants all around the presidency. Buhari is sitting down, and these statements have been made. The discussions, there's a way you can handle these issues and show Nigerians that you're really, really conscious of these efforts. Yeah, you're going to make an effort, like the Nigerians are saying, that you should make in arresting this security situation. Why is it so impossible to sack Buratai? Why is it so impossible? Why is it impossible for him to sack the chief of naval staff? Why can he not just take a decision now? The Nigerians would at least have a sense of relief. Today, the Inspector General of Police, nobody's actually calling for his sack because he saw what his predecessor went through. He's not doing 100%, but at least he will give him a pass mark. But he's not the only one out there. He needs the other security outfits to complement what he's doing. And so Baribe was only echoing the minds of Nigerians. And Gabashew had no reason to use those very obscene words for a person of Baribe.
I want to take your response to this sort of portrait of ineptitude that was vividly described by Honorable Bulus there, about what the people of Plateau State are going through. I want you to respond to that, especially in view of the fact that the NSA, Babagana Mongono, said in response to these calls for sacks of security chiefs that they will be consulting relevant stakeholders and other such meaningless platitudes. How do you respond to that?
Do you know they had information that it was as bad as that? It was as bad as that. He did not even point out that aspect. There was already security reports that attack was going to go on. And so what did they do about it? They went to sleep. And that is exactly what we're saying here. That's why we're saying that security architecture. For the house which people have accused to be rubber stamps, to have taken the decision, that should tell you that they've gotten all the information that they needed to get. Okay, now, why would you be consulting? Why would Munguno say he wants to be consulted? We'll not be hearing him speak. For the first time, you can see that the pressure has made him come up to speak. As the NSC, the first thing you tell the president is that, look, we have failed Nigerians in terms of security. And what we expect is that President Muhammadu Buhari, being a former general, we should have expected him to do better than Goodluck Jonathan in terms of security, because he has more than enough experience, more than Goodluck Jonathan in terms of security. And I bet for anyone to correct me, but we did not have this kind of security situation when Goodluck Jonathan was the president.
Well, let's go back to Abuja studio, where Honorable Solomon Bulus is back. Honorable Bulus, sorry about that technical glitch. You were, painting a picture of what happened in Plateau State recently, a picture of incompetence, ineptitude, failure on the part of the security agencies. If you may just continue with what you were saying.
Well, what I was trying to say was that where this crime took place is just 10 minutes, 15 minutes drive from the local government headquarters. And this crime took place around 8 p.m. The security agencies were notified, and they were not able to get to that place until almost 5 hours later. And that the following day, which was Monday, the rumor came that these people are also still grouping on the hills and they are coming down to attack more villages adjoining that community where these people were killed. And they were also notified. And these people came and started this burning of houses and killing people in the afternoon without any form of apprehension. And you can imagine they moved from one village to the other, counting up to about 7 villages. And if you can allow these people to move and trek from this community to that community, burn it down, trek to the next one, unabated, I think that is where the problem is, and that is where my colleagues were very critical about what is happening in the security sector and the reforms that the president needs to do. It is not about whether you are this political party or that political party. Crime has no any party, it has no religion, it has no any form of attachment. When it happens, it touches everyone. And that for some of us who are also stakeholders in the present administration, we are elected members, we are serving in this government, you cannot divorce yourself from the fact that security is everybody's business. And so we also take it on our own that this period that we're on holiday, we engage with our people, we move into the nooks and crannies, and it is what we took back from there that we have brought forward. And like I said earlier, the solution to some of these things, maybe some say it's community policing. What is this community policing all about? It's all about having people who collect intelligence for the police. But what we are saying is that we need to decentralize command, not only getting informants to also bring back this information, and this information is still going back to one man who gives directive on what to be done. And that is why we said the state policing is the only option. And I will even suggest if we can even have local government policing, where you decentralize more further, that decisions can be taken that will guarantee the safety of people in a particular local government without necessarily going to the top and finding out what do we need to do, how do we do it, or what should be done. No, but the security chief in the local government should be able to take control. But state policing, well, I think it's a temporary measure where people probably will feed the police with information on what is about to happen or what has happened. But even if you do that, we are talking of response time now. This issue had happened. What was the response period? We have the special task force in Jos. It's a place where it is totally militarized, and you expect that this kind of things cannot take place within 30 minutes, 1 hour without being apprehended. Now, if you go to places where there are no joint task forces, or there is no any military or total security operation taking place there, that means they can kill and kill for hours without any intervention. And so the issue is not about intelligence only, it's also on the response time. And we think that if you have this police decentralized up to a local government, the response times will increase. Because sometimes, you know, the security forces, they act on what commands. And if this command does not come from the person who is supposed to issue this command, nobody can do anything. They will all be looking and watching it happening because they are trained to take only commands. And so that is the problem. So I think rather than saying the president has moved forward through state policing or through community policing, I think the solution will still remain in the state police, where you allow state governments to run their police as chief security officers of the state governments. We have seen it work in other climes. Some say some governors will come, they will be too powerful, they will use it politically, they will not be there forever. One day they will go. And they are elected by their people. Would they allow their people to be endangered because of a political reason? If they do that, they are going against their oath. And again, they know the implications of that also. So I think it is very important at this point that, hello, I'm with you.
Without a doubt, there's a general vote of no confidence when it comes to the insecurity situation in Nigeria. We are about to go on a quick break shortly, and we'll come back to discuss that more. But I want to bring this conversation back into the Lagos studio for just a minute to get your reaction as well to what the Honorable has just had to say. And you also made a comment. You said, in quotes, we didn't have this problem when Jonathan was president. Now, some would argue that insecurity has been a problem for a very long time in different ways. We had a serious problem with Boko Haram. In 2014, the Global Terrorism Index ranked the herdsmen as the 4th largest terrorist group, or the 4th most threatening terrorist group across the world. This was all under the Jonathan administration. So would you say it's a fair statement to say that we didn't have this problem when Jonathan...
I didn't actually say we didn't have this problem. Of course we had this problem. I'm saying that in terms of who is handling the situation better? We expect Buhari to handle it better than Jonathan. Oh, it was a lot of, we had a lot of security challenges when Jonathan was there. But Jonathan is a civilian. He knows nothing about security. If you compare him to Buhari, who has fought the civil war, has headed, has been a general officer, GOC commanding a very major division in Jos. I mean, he's gone through all the rudimentaries of what security should be. So you expect Buhari to do a much better job than Jonathan. That was the only comparison I did make. Yes.
Thanks for that clarification. Let's go on a very quick commercial break. And of course, as soon as we're back, the conversation continues. Do stay with us. Welcome back to the morning show here on Arise News. Still with us in our Lagos studio is Ken Okolugbo, a former member of the PDP Presidential Campaign Council and a former commissioner in charge of the Delta State's Oil Producing Areas Development Commission. And also in our Abuja studios today, we have House of Representatives member Honorable Solomon Bulus, representing Mangu and Boko's federal constituency in Plateau State. Thank you both gentlemen for staying with us on the program. And I'm going to shoot back over to Abuja. And Honorable, what is the condition now with people that you're representing in your constituency who are under siege for 2 days? People are displaced. What is the role here also of state and local governments in this? Because it's not just the federal government that is to blame.
Well, the condition of my people at the moment is pathetic. It is a situation where people are helpless, and people don't even know what next will become of them in the next day or in the next hour. And we have been crying out to say that we should not allow this thing to deteriorate. We must not allow people to start looking for self-help. The Nigerian government must come in and ensure that these people feel that they are actually having a government that cares for them, a government that cares for their livelihood. Because primarily in the Constitution, if you look at Chapter 2 of the Constitution, Section 14(2)(b), it's very critical, it's very clear. It said the main purpose of government is to provide security and welfare of the people. And so, and the crafters of our Constitution were not just putting the word security first before welfare, because they know that in the absence of security, there is no welfare that can rest in the hands of the people. So, but today, the local governments, what can they do? The governors are mere figures, chief security officers. They don't have any command. They cannot tell any security agent to do this or that in order to save their people. Whenever they tell them, they refer back to their commands in their headquarters and get the right command before they now move in. And so the state governments are helpless, to talk of local governments, chairmen. The local government chairmen are just like any other ordinary citizen in the local government. Because what can they do? They are just looking. They don't have any access to any security that they can say, please, we have a problem in this place, move in now. And even if you do that, they will tell you, well, we have to clarify, get clarifications from above. And this has been the problem. And that's why we clamor that these agencies must be decentralized. The police, most especially, must be decentralized in a manner that it will be under the command. Even the local government chairman is the chief security officer of the local government. You must have a security outfit that he commands in order to enforce the security among the people. And if this is not there, then there is a problem. Secondly, I want to also comment and say that on the issue of Senator Abaribe, people should not misconstrue Senator Abaribe as talking against President Buhari or the APC government. I think he should be looked at as, first, Senator Abaribe is a Nigerian. And I think, first, he's talking as a Nigerian. And what he said, was it not true? If you have a problem with the body, is it not the head that the problem is looking for at the end of the day? And so he's saying that the head should sit up. The head should do the needful. And to some of us, if the security chiefs have been there for this long, and then this problem have continued, and I said, if we're in a country where morality counts, I think it is easy for me to say, please, I have tried my best in this area. It does not seem it's working. So I want to step aside. Maybe some other people can come and try. And I think that will be honorable for everyone to applaud them and say, yes, really, you have done your best. We are not saying they are the cause of the problem, but if they do not have the solution, we should allow people who have the solution to come. Because we cannot continue in this manner the way we are going. Nigeria is ranked today the third most insecure country in the world after Yemen and Afghanistan. You can imagine if they tell you to go to Somalia, you would think that you are going to hell. But today, Somalia is better. That it is better to go to Somalia than to come to Nigeria. So it's a big problem. And if the international community is not telling us that we are a failed state, we should know what is the situation in Somalia, which we rank higher in terms of terrorism. Somalia is a failed state. And if we are number 3 and Somalia is number 5, okay, if number 5 is a failed state, what do you think number 3 is? And so these are the issues that Nigerians will need to look at. And the government must look in between the lines to say, well, we have tried in this manner with ABC persons, it has not worked, and I think we need to do more. What do we do to encourage and to improve the system in place? And we would have seen the government convocating a national security conference where people come from many of these affected areas of the country to bring in their own solution to the problem. It started in Maiduguri. The civilian JTF came in, and they were of help to the military. And so if you have tried on the Plateau, for example, since 2001, we've been having this type of crisis among us, and it has been taking lives every day. And I thought by now would have said, well, if there is need for us, let's convene a national security conference in the North Central. Let the people of the North Central come and let us discuss what needs to be done so that we can get secure the people and their properties. This is
Bulus, talking about what should be done. One, Senator Abaribe didn't say President Buhari should sit up. He said President Buhari should resign. I don't know what you think about that. But in parts of it, I also listen to you. You support the idea of state police. You object to the idea of community policing. But in parts of the country, we have had instances where, the regions are now setting up their own security outfits. You have in the southwest, Operation Amotekun, which is the Western Nigeria Security Network. Now, in the east, the chairman of the Southeast Governors Forum, Dave Umahi, has also said the eastern region is considering setting up a similar outfit like Operation Amotekun. The name of that outfit, as proposed, has not yet been disclosed. Now, is there any conversation among the political class and the people of the North Central, where you come from, about coming up with a similar security outfit to address this challenge of insecurity in that part of the country?
Well, I think with what we saw coming from the southwest, you see, this is the area we were running away from, that people now start looking towards self-help so that they can secure their own people. And we are looking at the fact that, okay, if the government is saying Amotekun is illegal, but are the people of the southwest secured? Or do you want them to come and continue to look at themselves, look at the people who vote them into power, being killed on their farms, on their way to farms, on the roads when they are traveling? There is nowhere that is safe. You have a lot of dens, kidnappers' dens operating in the region, and nobody can say, we have seen where these people are operating from, where they keep people. Remember the story of the woman who shared it on the social media last year, where she was taken with her husband and daughter, the way they were manhandled, and they were taken to the forest. Where is this forest? The forest is in the southwest. And so these are issues that by now they expect that the security agencies should have even taken notice of such locations around the country and beef up security around there and raid some of these areas. Once that is done, you are going to have a lot. I mean, the people of the region will now know that, yes, government is doing a lot to protect us. He said Senator Abaribe said the president should resign. Well, he may have concluded by saying so, but he was able to lay a preamble that opened our eyes to a lot of issues that are happening that government is not doing. And like I said earlier, if something is happening to your leg or hand or stomach, what is it looking for? It's going towards your head at the end. Because at the end of the day, if those areas are totally destroyed, your head is gone, and that is the end of a person. And so this is why we must sit up But, certainly the president will not resign. But I think this has sent a message to him that it's need for him to stand up, to wake up, to do the needful, that Nigerians are tired of seeing their next and kins being killed. Nigerians are tired of seeing blood every day. In my constituency yesterday, 22 people were buried in a mass grave. You can imagine that. If you go to the social media, you see the comments Nigerians are making on it. You know that Nigerians are not happy with what is happening. And this should send a signal also to the president that the need to do the needful. First, you must make categorical statements. You must condemn these issues when they happen. You must direct security chiefs to go and take and bring perpetrators of this act by all means. No one has been prosecuted. And that is a major problem, because prosecution is supposed to serve as deterrence to people who commit crime. But when you don't have people prosecuted, it means that you are condoning it, you are also allowing it, you are also in support of it. Otherwise, why wouldn't you punish somebody for what he has done? And so these are the issues that we must look at as a country. In the North Central zone, we might not have come together to say we need to put up a particular security. But you can see that majority of the states in the North Central, they are talking about what? State police. And so if at the end of the day, the Amoteko in the Southwest gets through, then we must certainly have to come back and say, okay, if we cannot get state police, then we need to have a regional police that is going to assist our people to protect them from being killed. And so these are the issues that we are discussing among the political class. We are hoping that our governors also are talking among themselves, and very soon they will come up with something that will secure the people more and give them a sense of belonging in every administration.
Thank you, Honorable. So I'm going to ask you, based on Honorable Bulus and his analogy of when a patient is ill, it comes from the head, fish rots from the head and what have you. In the event that the service chiefs do not resign and are not sacked, what options are available to the Nigerian public? Because this is the leadership of the so-called security architecture, which is proving in some cases to be a mirage. So what are the options available if they are not removed as the calls go unheeded?
I wonder what the options will be. Maybe because I've been one person calling for their sack for the last 1 year. Yes, you should go check it. I've been one person calling for their sack. If I felt like a lone voice in the wilderness, I'm so happy now that the whole country has seen where I was coming from. Over 2 years now, I've been calling for their sack. I think Olunishaki is also due, or they extended his retirement because they wanted to leave the others. I wonder what other options we have, because it is obvious that the more they're trying, the more the law of diminishing returns have set in. Initially, they did well when they started. If you notice, 2015, 2016, when Buhari came in, we didn't have this herdsmen crisis. They were able to contain Boko Haram. Truly, we didn't have bombings anymore in Abuja. We had a lot of Boko Haram repentance. Even the Chibok girls were rescued. But if you notice that the more those attacks are coming, the more it's deteriorating. So these service chiefs should go. I wonder why they're so hell-bent on sitting down in that positions. Nigerians are tired of them. We don't want them there anymore. We want a new set of service chiefs, even if for nothing else. That will give life to the soldiers. That will send a strong message to those service chiefs that are coming in to say, look, the same way they have kicked, Nigerians have said they should kick off those service chiefs, the same way they will say they should kick us off if we are not alive to our responsibilities. I don't want to think that there will be any improvement. I hate to see any improvement if these service chiefs remain. The first thing the president must do is kick out the service chiefs.
And just as we round up the conversation as well, let's also get your opinion on the drop that we had in our new rating from Transparency International on fighting corruption. Of course, the governments have come out, or the federal government have come out to kick against what Transparency International has come out with, which is a rating of 36%, I believe, a fall down by 1%. What do you think about this rating that we've been given, which, of course, is more all-encompassing than our perspective of corruption?
I like the word you use, all-encompassing. I hate to condemn the fight against corruption, because I know the leadership of the EFCC.
Sorry, 26% I meant,
yes,
not 36.
I know the leadership of the EFCC. Magu is someone I've always known, even before he came into the leadership of the EFCC. I speak to him. But you see, the problem about it is that perception is not only perception, but the fight against corruption has been seen to be one-sided in the terms that EFCC has, EICPC, they have achieved a whole lot. If you notice, there's so many convictions that have gone on. But what is the problem we're having? The problem we're having is that the big fishes are being left, who are members of this administration or have apron string attached to this administration. Some will argue that Orji's Okalu, some will argue that Orji's Okalu, for example, is in prison now. But when was his case? When was his case instituted?
No,
it was instituted 12 years ago.
Who have been convicted.
Dari,
in any case, we have to go.
More.
Well, thank you very much, Ken
you.
Okolugbo.
It's my
And Honorable
pleasure.
Solomon Bulus, thank you very much for coming to the morning show
Thank
today.
you.
Thank you.